Hello, good evening. Welcome back to the Mr. Arsenal podcast for another get together after, not for the first time for a while. Not a really good match day for us, but we're going to get through it. It could be worse thanks to the enemy, so I say, helping us out yesterday. It made it sort of taint off the bad taste on Saturday, but we are here, we are back, and as you can see and hear, we'll be joined by Ray and Liam. How you doing, guys?
Yeah, very well, thanks, mate. Thanks for having me on, Liam. Great to see you again.
Yeah, and you, mate.
Let's discuss it. It's a bit painful, isn't it, that result? But like you said, Ryan, it sort of was made a little bit easier with the result yesterday, wasn't it? So yeah, let's do it.
As you mentioned, it was made a bit easier. Just that it's like a lot. It's one of them things yesterday where, because it's Man City losing, even though technically who beat them, I loved it, but I hated it because at the same time, it was like, if only we'd done our job 24 hours earlier, we'd be 8 points clear now. And now, but the implications today that the news coming out about Man City breaking over 100 financial fair play rules in the Premier League, which could have multiple implications, result into that could result basically to, how can I put it, in fact, Serie A, the match fixing scandal of 06 when Juventus into AC Milan, and a couple of other teams got caught out for match fixing, and then Juventus were one of the teams got relegated and points deducted and fines, etc. I think he made a difference to Juventus, Milan side, Man City side, because they'll just go, okay, you relegate us, we'll come back unbeaten. Well, hey, but you've now there's a possibility this season that they could have their points deducted this season and not next season if they are found guilty of what they've been charged with. But that was my main frustration even yesterday, when as much as I enjoyed seeing them lose, and like the relief there, they didn't gain on us and make us punish us for our own. It was our own fault, by the way, that we lost. Let's not get twisted on that.
Yeah, we were awful.
It was more of what could have been in the end. We could be now sitting here bounced for joy, 8 points clear of Man City in February. But no, we want to make it hard for ourselves and make that Man City game a bit more dramatic. And I'm just like, no. But I want to get your thoughts. I'll start because obviously I was with Liam on Saturday. Well, only me and Liam were on Saturday for the match. But I'll get your thoughts first, Ray, because more so at first. We'll start with first off. What were your thoughts? Because we started off 10-15 minutes on the front foot with the ball in their half.
Yeah.
But the main thing for me was the final third. Every time we got near their penalty box, we just lacked any killer instinct. And then we just went flat for the rest of the game then.
Yeah, pretty much. You summed it up nicely there, to be honest. The first 15, I thought we played relatively well. Like you say, I think we sort of controlled the game a little bit, and I thought we sort of set our stalls out quite well. However, in that first 15, when you're going to Goodison with the circumstances, around the owners and the protests and everything, we simply have to score within, the first 15 minutes and really make it a tough day for them early on. When we didn't do that, they slowly grow into the game, and they get more and more belief. And it was a typical Sean Dyche team performance, really, wasn't it? You put your big units in midfield and up front and in defence, and they just don't give you anything. And they were super motivated, super up for it. Their fans, they seem to really rise to it as well. And it was just a tough day for us all in all, really, wasn't it?
Exactly. I can't really disagree with that. What was frustrating, as you say, it was just the typical Sean Dyche thing. You got all these big units on the pitch and done a job, and it's just what was worse. It was an ex-Burnley player for the assist, and an ex-Burnley player for the goal. And it was just like, seriously,
made in turf more, that goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's quite literally. And Liam mentioned it in the stream on Saturday. That corner they'd done 3 or 4 times beforehand, and then they score from it. It's like, and when you see the replays, it's like we're just so not on it and physically not there, basically. Like the slightest touch, and we just went, okay, there you go. But,
yeah. I mean, there was that bit in the first half, wasn't there, where they just seemed to have corner after corner after corner. And I think we defended them relatively well, but they just, that was the game plan to try and score from set pieces and hurt us that way. And you could just tell it just gave them more and more belief.
Yeah, it didn't. You thought half time comes along, it's 0-0. Okay, Arteta gets them in, dust them down, give them a rollicking, like basically sort yourselves out. And we come out a different animal, like the animal we've seen most of the season. But again, we started off the first 10 minutes okay, and then we went in ourselves again. And I think what's the moment it all switched to us is when the two subs are made. In terms of I'm not blaming players. I'm blaming, for me, they did this on Saturday. It was for me the manager in terms of who he took off, not who he brought on. It's more so who he took off in terms of Thomas Partey for Jorginho. And it was Martinelli for Trossard. For me, for me, I would have brought off Eddie for Trossard and then had a front three of Trossard, Martinelli and Saka, and had them interchange and moving about, making the defence guess what they've got to do, basically, because Eddie just wasn't full Jewish better that day. It wasn't his day, weren't doing nothing, wasn't offering anything. And Partey was just going into the game, which didn't look like he was injured. We've heard nothing that he's injured since. Like he's got to have a scan on nothing. We've heard nothing. So I don't get why Partey was taken off. And you can see, with all due respect, we lost that bite that we had in midfield with Partey. That bit of grit, that bit of, I don't know, just what you get from a Thomas Partey. We just lost it, and the balance wasn't right in that pivot, and we just looked like when we were having Jorginho and Granit Xhaka go up against three big CDMs in Onana and all that. You're just asking for trouble, and it just got constantly overrun. Even when Zinchenko's trying to drop in, it was just getting overrun. And I don't know. I mean, Liam, what have you heard anything about Partey? Have you had any time to think about them subs and what happened and your thoughts on the whole situation? Because it seemed bizarre to us at the time. We were just asking ourselves, like, why was Partey been taken off? Because it doesn't look he's injured.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I think needs to be questioned about Saturday was, did we need to make two subs at the same time? I don't think we did. And basically, let's be honest, it wasn't. You can't blame the substitutes for losing the game, but the two subs definitely would have played a bit of an effect in terms of them coming on and them scoring from a set piece. Like everything would have been up in the air as such, and we didn't really want to be giving a corner away literally a minute after we'd made the substitutions. Like I've said it before and I'll say it again. Thomas Partey now needs to play every minute of this season for us to win the league. If you look at all the games we've lost, he's either been substituted or he hasn't played. Like he's our most vital player, and we just need to not play him in the Europa Cup whatsoever unless we get to like the later stages, and if it's needed, and we just need to keep him fit for these 18 games, because he is basically everything in that team that keeps everything together. And it's no coincidence that he goes off at Man City and Everton and they've scored a goal. I just think it's becoming a common theme. We don't have him, that we do struggle much more. But I was doing a bit of research myself yesterday, and we've played a Sean Dyche team over 540 minutes, which is 5 games. We've scored 2 goals. One was a free kick from Odegaard. The other one was a mistake from the goalkeeper from Aubameyang. It's common theme that Arteta has kind of struggled against Sean Dyche over the last 3 years, and he needs to work. He needs to work on a formula how he breaks down and beats Sean Dyche team. So this result shouldn't be a surprise to us, really, when we think about it. It really shouldn't be a surprise. We've struggled against Sean Dyche's team for about 3 years now. And he does what he does every single time. He plays the 3 defensive midfielders. He packs that defence. He packs that defence with his defenders, and they just literally hit us on the break. But look, whatever tactics he played on Saturday, Everton deserved to beat us. And do you know what? I knew when I woke up yesterday morning, I knew Spurs beat Man City, and the way I knew they would, mate. I knew they would. I don't know why, but I just knew Spurs beat Man City. This Man City team is not the Man City team of old. This is not a Man City team of last year. There's a lot of problems with this Man City team. Then they're not going to win every game between now to the end of the season. There's no way. With everything going on at the club, especially if this is brilliant. This is, for me, it's brilliant. Do you know what I mean? Because players are going to be doubting the club. The management are going to be doubting the club. Pep Guardiola is going to be doubting the club. Like, this has couldn't have come at a better time for us. But I just think like this defeat could be a blessing in disguise. I know we could have gone 8 points clear this weekend, but do you know what? If we're going to lose a game, at least we've lost a game when Man City have lost a game. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, we could be 8 points clear and it could be like virtually over with. But at the same point, we're going to lose a game. And sometimes you need to lose a game to get a reaction. And I think I said to you on air on Saturday, they were too relaxed, like before in the tunnel. I look at body language. There was players leaned up against the wall. Ben White, for example. I think this is the kick up the arse we need. And I think, do you know what, right? Because of the result with Spurs and Man City, the players will be totally different now to what they would have been like going into training this morning if Man City had won that game. They know they've got away with one. They know they can't go and do that again. So I think, do you know what? This debate on Saturday could be an absolute blessing in disguise for us.
Yeah, you got a good point there in terms of a blessing in disguise and the fact that City did lose. We haven't actually been punished fully for it in terms of them gaining on us and things like that.
How many times have we been on the other end of it, Ryan? How many times have we seen the team lose, right? And then we think, we're going to go and win now, and then we do exactly the same thing. How many times have we been?
Too many, countless times.
Too many.
Do you know what I mean? And it's deflating, isn't it? You think when it's the other side of it, we're all deflated, isn't we? Yeah, so they'll be deflated because, do you know what? They had the chance to crawl up on us, and they didn't.
Yeah, exactly. You mentioned that, like, in terms of, from our perspective, we've been on the opposite side of years gone by. It does your head in. It's like, how can you not fucking take advantage? Especially if we had a habit of doing it against teams we should beat anyway back then as well. It's just, what you're playing at. You had a chance to gain on them or go further. And it's just, it was a weird one yesterday. To be on the other side, I just had that relief. But at the same time, because it's Tottenham, you bastards. But also, thank you Tottenham, because you helped us win the title. We won with it's like bloody hell.
Listen, really, they've given us 9 points in this league. If you think about it that way,
effectively, yeah.
So,
who's it worse for this morning? Who's it worse for this morning? Is it worse for us or worse for them? Because they know, but we win the league by 2 points. That win has basically won us the title.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. That is the way I look at it.
Kane's landmark goal as well. It just couldn't potentially be any sweeter, could it?
No, exactly. Former Arsenal fan scores the goal. Do you know what I mean? He breaks the record on the day that he could have potentially helped Arsenal. Win the title.
Yeah.
No, exactly. You couldn't make it up yesterday, but no. You mentioned before Ben White, how one of your players you picked out on body language before the game's lounging back. He's not just Saturday, but for a couple of games now, he's been a bit not at the races like he has. Was it like he was prior to the World Cup, just after? He seems to sort of dropped off a bit. Do you think that? We're sort of you, Ray. Are you concerned about that at all, or do you think it's just a bit of a blip because of the World Cup? We had to go, even though he didn't play, the flying, the jet lag, and he's just catching up with him.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a blip. Relatively, since Ben White has joined, I think he's been fairly solid for us. I know when he first joined, we had to defeat to Brentford and whatnot, and he looked a bit shaky in that game a couple of times last season. But on the whole, I thought he was good. And I think, like you say, up until about the Manchester United game, when was that now? 2-3 weeks ago. I thought he's been solid all season. He's still a young player. Let's not forget that. I know we're in the position we're in and every point is crucial and players get scrutinised, but he's still, in his mid-20s? He's still, got a fair bit to learn. So, yeah, listen, if he's doing this for 5 or 6 games, then I'll be concerned. But 1 or 2, it happens, right? It's football.
Yeah.
And we do have a good replacement in Tomiyasu, who can do a very similar job to Ben White, and hopefully that gives him a kick up the arse he needs to perform and get his form back. But I wouldn't be too concerned because, like I say, he is a good player. Every player goes through a bad spell.
Yeah, it's just it is a bit concerning when Neiman points out that he's not just him but other players are just leaning relaxed for a game like that against the wall or whatever. And
yeah, what I would say though is
I don't want an attitude because that was a main gripe of mine. Sorry, back in the Wenger's time, certain games, certain players we think they've already had that attitude before the game's kicked off, put across the line, they've won the game and they get going to lose, home or away. I don't want that creeping into this side, especially when we've got something to go for in terms of
yeah. I mean, like Liam said though, it's we need to use this as a wake up call, don't we? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of see what you mean, Liam, about it could be a positive or a blessing in disguise that we lost, but it's only that if we actually learn from it and don't let this defeat happen again. What I saw is that I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 of our players weren't at the level that they normally play at, and it shows in the Prem. If you're not at 100%, any team on their day will beat you. It's that simple. So as long as we don't allow these levels to drop, like I say, it does happen with Ben White. Every player can have a bad game. Every player can have a blip, but it's how you push through that and how you try and maintain your standards. Because listen, we've got to where we are with the players that are on the pitch playing to the levels they've been playing at. So it's up to them. It's up to Mikel. It's up to his coaching staff and everyone to make sure all our players can perform how we all know they can.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's a good point. And Liam, I want to get your thoughts quickly on Ben as well, because obviously you're the one to mention it in the first place, and in the other places you mentioned as well on Saturday. Do you think there's any possibility or complacency getting in certain players in terms of against certain teams where they're struggling, home or away? We're thinking, well, we're doing so well, we're okay, Jack. We've sort of won it before they've crossed the line, and it's maybe, like you've said, maybe it is a blessing in disguise, and maybe it's a kick up the arse, and Arteta will be like, don't do that again, because next time we won't be so lucky with Man City. And we've got Man City next week as well, so it's not like we can afford to drop more points in the process. We've got Brentford on Saturday, 3:00 kickoff. That's going to be, for us, in terms not an eye opener, but it's going to be, for us fans, a true visual. How can I put it? A true visual. We're going to see how this team reacts, because we've seen them react when we lost to United and how we went on that run before in the season. But that was when there wasn't the pressure of a title race. This is the start of the season. Everyone's taking us off anyway. Whereas now we are like it or not, everyone. We are in a title race. We are top of the league. Some bookies have us as favourites. I'm still a bit still too early, but we are in that. And if we get a reaction, if Arteta gets the boot at their backsides this morning and the rest of the week, and come Saturday we get not just a performance, but we obviously get the result as well. Will that sort of calm you guys down and thinking, yeah, Saturday was just that blessing in disguise. It was a one-off game. They'll kick on now and do what needs to be done between now and May.
Yeah, I think Brentford's a hard game. We got to remember Brentford went to Man City and beat Man City. So one thing we certainly can't do is sit there and get complacent and think this game's a 3-pointer, because it's anything but a 3-pointer. I see this game as our Brighton at home last year. That's where I see this game. Do you know what I mean? We lost a couple of games, then we played Brighton and unfortunately lost that game. This is where we need to see the true test of the character. Now, I don't think we need to panic, because we're sitting 5 points clear of a game in hand, and I don't think we need to make wholesale changes, because we're sitting 5 points clear, and we're, as I say again, we've got a game in hand, and we won 16, drawn 2, and lost 2. So there is at the moment no need to panic. And I'll say this as well. When you've got Partey and a Xhaka playing in centre midfield, you don't lose many games. You barely lose games. You look throughout. When Partey and Xhaka are fit, you barely lose games. So I'm quite comfortable, right? As long as Partey, Xhaka and Odegaard are in that midfield, they won't have many games like they did on Saturday. I don't believe they will. And I believe that the team's right there. I think if there's one change to be made on Saturday, it would be Tomiyasu for Ben White, just to take Ben White out a little bit. And I think Tomiyasu, apart obviously, I didn't agree with Wimmers at Brighton when he made the 2 fullback changes, because I think that just totally invited pressure onto us at that point. But I think since then, Tomiyasu's done all right when he come on. I thought he did all right against Manchester United as well when he come on. So I'm not adverse to see Tomiyasu start, but at the same time, I fully understand if he starts Ben White again, because he'll probably want to put faith in that team and show the faith that, do you know what, you've got me here. I'm going to put out the same team. I think that's what he'll do. I don't think he'll make changes. And to be fair, he doesn't really need to. Like, we do need to look at the overall picture. It was a blip. It was a poor performance. There's a little bit of the manager bounce in that as well. And Everton's become a bit of a customary shit game for us to play, unfortunately, over the last few years. And I don't understand why, really, because when you look at their team, there's just no reason why they should be, but unfortunately, they are. But yeah, I don't think there's no need to panic, mate. Honestly, do you know what? I'd probably go out with the same team again. See what they can do, and hopefully get 3 points, because that's what they've done all season. And we just got to take that game at Everton as a blip. I honestly believe, right, it could potentially be. We look at it in the season. If we do go on and win the league, we'll look at that game and go, do you know what? That was the game. That was the game that we need that little bit of a kick up the arse. That's the game which said to the players, you can't get complacent in this league. And they got away with one. They got away with one with Spurs beating Man City. So for me, they must have gone into training this morning, buzzing again. Do you know what I mean? And then obviously to hear the news, like, you know, for a fact that Man City, I think that personally, they've known for this for a while. I think Pep Guardiola's known for this for a while. It wouldn't have just been a shock today. It wouldn't have just come out today out of nowhere. I'm not having that. And it kind of makes sense now with the Pep Guardiola interviews and all that. There's a lot of problems at the moment at Man City. This is the best opportunity we're ever going to have against Man City to win the league. And Mikel Arteta will be telling the players today that, and he'll be telling them that it's down to them now to make sure that they fulfil that and go through to the end of the season. But I've heard that Man United apparently back in the race. I'm not really with that, because I think if you look at Man United's run in March and April, they've got some hard away games. Like, I thought we had some hard away games, but like going to Brighton, going to Newcastle now, I just don't. I don't think they'll pull it around enough, personally. So I do think it's out of us and City. But look, if we beat Brentford and beat City, I think pretty much then we can only throw it. We can only throw it. And yeah, as I said, play Partey, Xhaka and Odegaard nearly every game. You barely lose games. You might lose one or two more by the end of the season. That'd be it.
Well, because of how poor, to our own standards, City have been this season in their own results, we kind of don't want us to, but we have got a buffer in terms of, well, they've lost 4 or 5 games they've lost in the league this season. We've only lost 2, so we've got a 3-game buffer where we can afford to sort of lose the same amount as them and still possibly still be ahead, just if we play our cards right. Because again, like we said, they had an advantage, a chance to take an advantage yesterday. They haven't taken it. It doesn't feel all season. I've been saying for a few weeks, like when we got like the Gary Nevilles and all that going, because of historically they've gone on these 14, 15 winning game streaks and all that in the past. I'm expecting it to happen any time now, and I'm like, I haven't seen that though, because at least in the seasons before they were putting them runs together anyway in the first place at the start of the season, respectively, in previous seasons. Whereas this season, Man City haven't. They almost dropped points and lost to Fulham and got out of there by some dodgy penalties and all that. Brentford punished them at home. Again, in the years gone by, them 2 teams in particular, they beat 4 or 5-0 at home. Their home form has been their bread and butter, their dominance, basically. And I haven't seen that. And I've been saying that, no, it's not going to happen. And again, yesterday for Man City, that was their opportunity to start the run. And they flopped. I watched that game and I was like, I think every time I've watched in this season, I'm thinking they can't get any worse. And they get worse every time they play a game. It's like, they can't just put it all on Haaland either. It just doesn't. Something's not right. And obviously, maybe Neil mentions the news today about the Premier League FFP and all that. They've known for a while, and it's playing on a lot of players' minds and managers' minds, etc., etc. But I said I didn't see Man City going on a massive run, and I think yesterday was, as I keep saying it, that was their opportunity to take it and go with it, but they didn't, thankfully. And it's now, as much as players, as you keep saying, players are coming into training this morning from Arsenal's perspective and going, thank God for that, like sort of semi-celebrating that they're still 5 points clear, still at top of the league. Arteta will be, because of how he's been moulded under Pep as well, when he was assistant, and he's learned under Wenger as well as a player. He'll be calling a meeting this morning saying, like, yes, it was a rip, but it's a one-off I can accept. We don't do this because we've seen in the documentary when we've lost games how in their faces you'll get when things don't go the right way, but he wants them to do. So he would have got in their faces today and said, right, next, don't do this again, because next I'm going to give you one more chance, basically. If you don't, I'm going to start making changes to the team, and that's when it's going to probably get messy, but we'll see. We'll cross our bridges to come to it. But as I've been since Saturday's game, I've been sort of drawing comparisons, if you will, to the 89 team, when obviously we're going to win the league and this, that, and against Anfield, against Liverpool and all that. But that whole season, we'd started off well, out of nowhere, going top of the league. Around this sort of time of the season, we're top of the league and clear of Liverpool. And we suddenly we start doing things that we did on Saturday. And we obviously, as we all know, by the end of the season, we turn it around and get over the line. And again, it's another similarity is up to that season, we hadn't won the league title in 18 years prior. This could be 19, it would be 19 come May, but there's a few similarities creeping in, and I don't want us to keep dropping points. No, I don't want that drama. But I'm just saying there are, because again, we keep saying it, and I said this to my brother today, because we were talking about the news as well, and I was like, before the news came out, it was like, Man City should win the title because they have the player personnel experience. They've been here. They've been pushed by Liverpool for the last 3-4 years for the title. They've been here, worn the T-shirt. They've got the player know-how on the pitch to get over the line, majority of them anyway. We don't have that in our squad, apart from Jesus and Zinchenko, who are at Man City. But the rest of our squad don't have Premier League winning experience. They haven't been in the gritty of a title race. So we shouldn't be expecting to win a title. It's completely out of the blue. I mean, I'm loving it. Apart from obviously the defeat, I'm absolutely loving it. And long may it continue. And if we do win it, I'm going to be the most unbearable motherfucker all summer. I am coming for people on this platform like you would not believe. I've got lists of names. I'm from the bigger platforms that literally they're doing their Premier League predictions. Arsenal going to finish 8th. They're not getting in European football. They're getting nowhere near the top 4. Yeah, if we do win this title, I'm going to be like, yeah, well, I know what you're saying. Now we're the league champions. Got Liverpool fans. Liverpool fans are actually crying that we could possibly win a title this season over City. And I'm scratching my head. I was asking the question last night in my stream. I was like, why? Why are Liverpool fans so desperate for Man City, of all teams, to win a title? The team that's stopped them from winning titles for the last 3 or 4 years, barring one. They're like, well, no, we can't have Arsenal win it. Why not? Leave us alone. Let us enjoy it. We let you enjoy it.
Especially after the revelations of what's come out as well. I'd be, if God forbid, if I was a Liverpool fan, I'd be fuming, because they have cheated their way, then they've cheated them out of 2 or 3 titles at least.
I think it's 2 or 3 titles. I think it was, yeah.
Yes. So the fact they'd still want City to win over us is just mind blowing, in my opinion.
it baffles me. I don't know if it's doing it for clicks or this, but it just baffles me. And when we've got Liverpool fans going, "Oh no, I'd rather Man City win." I'm like, what? Okay, but it's just bizarre. And I'm just as a whole, I just don't. I've not seen anything from City to say they're going to go on that run. They might push us, yeah, of course, because they've got as I say, they've got the know-how. But I've not seen anything for them to go on to justify what Gary Neville keeps saying every week, and it just does my bloody head in that he just won't give us credit. And I'm just, but at the same time, I was just going, you know what? Knock us, keep knocking us, because we'll just keep doing our thing. We've done it all season. You've knocked us. When United beat us and start sixth game of the season, sorry. He was like, yeah, now we're going to see the real true Arsenal thing. And we just went, okay, boom, massive winning run. And we beat the lots of Tottenham, Liverpool. Haven't played City yet because of the Queen's death and all that. So I got postponed in European football and all that jazz. But we've got every test, 9 times out of 10 this season, every test that's been put in front of us, we've passed. But we still don't get the credit we deserve. I've seen videos before I come online tonight of Rio Ferdinand in the studio on BT going, while the game's playing, that going, "Oh, Martin Keown, what's happening to your team, mate? You're not. You're nowhere near the time. You're not. I know in the top 4, but you're not in a title race. You haven't been in titles for Gunnar Hazard and your team. Worry about your own team. Worry about your CDM getting sent off again, and we'll concentrate on our thing." But it's just I'm gonna move on to what is it? Get your thoughts, Ray, on what's coming up with Brentford. Because obviously Liam's mentioned it already. You don't think there will be any changes. Do you think there should be to the starting 11 or?
No, I think I agree with Liam about Tomiyasu coming in. And maybe controversially, I would probably start Trossard over Martinelli, because I don't think Martinelli had a good game against Everton. I know he's just got his new contract, and he is absolutely electric, Martinelli, but he didn't have a good game. So he needs to learn that if he falls below them standards, there's going to be another guy that's going to take your place. And I think that could be a good lesson. We could just bring him on in the second half or whenever. Other than that, mate, I don't really think so. I think every other player probably should come in as they would. Like I say, they've got certainly my trust because of how they've all performed this season. But yeah, other than Ben White for Tomiyasu and possibly Martinelli for Trossard, I think we should just keep the team the same.
Yeah. I've got a question from Russ in the chat as well. It says, because obviously he says 2 losses in a row. Do you think this will affect the mentality of the team? Obviously referring to the FA Cup defeat as well.
Yeah.
If we'd got, I would say yes if we'd gone full strength against City. We did rest certain players and mess about at the starting 11 on that FA Cup game. If we hadn't and we'd gone full strength and then we'd lost and we still got and lost this weekend, I would say yeah. But I don't think it will. Obviously, Saturday will be the proof in the pudding in terms of when we play Brentford, because they're going to be for me. They will be the tougher test based on form and where they are in the league as well, because they're fighting for a European spot as well at the moment. But yeah, I mean, Liam, do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me on that one?
Before I go into that, I just want to talk about Rio Ferdinand quickly.
Go on, yeah.
Right. What is it? Like, and I've got to ask a question. I've got to ask a question now, yeah, right? What is it, right, that these Man United and Liverpool ex-players think they can behave the way they can? Do you know what I mean? We see it last year at Brentford when we got beaten, the way Carragher and Neville reacted, do you know what I mean? And now we see what Rio Ferdinand done. Why? Why'd you do that? Like, firstly, I felt it was really embarrassing, right? Surprised Keown didn't get up and chin him, to be honest with you. I mean, totally honest with you. But what's your point? I don't get what your point is. Do you know what I mean? Because it seems to me, yeah, right. And you got to talk about Liverpool fans and like they don't want Arsenal to win the league, and I've seen Man United fans saying they want Man City to win the league. Like, what is your rivalry as well? Because I could not imagine, yeah, right, that one Arsenal fan will come out and say, I want Spurs to win the league. We all know as Arsenal fans, when Spurs got into the Champions League final that day, it was our worst day of our life leading up to that starting game. It's the most pressurised game of football, I'll be honest with you, outside Arsenal that I've had to experience, because the thought of them winning the Champions League before us just it still crawls inside me now. I just don't get it. I just don't get the mentality of these people. And it just shows you, that we've upset the apple cart over the years, like 89 Anfield. Like, they're probably still bitter about that. Like, we went and won the league at Old Trafford, didn't we? Like, Man United hate Arsenal more. I don't care what anyone says here, right? Apart from Liverpool, maybe. They hate us. They absolutely hate us. They can't bear it. And it just proved it the other day with Rio Ferdinand and all that. And I just don't understand the behaviour. I don't understand why I behave like that. Why do you behave like that when Arsenal lose a game?
Do you know what it is, Liam? Sorry to come in, but
go on.
I just think that they've had their fun with us for however many years now. You know, we've been the butt of their jokes. You know, whenever we lose games, you know, it's let's go and see, you know, Arsenal fan cams and you know, chill and all of this. Now all of a sudden they just don't have this season, and you know, certainly in terms of Liverpool, they're just completely jealous of what we've managed to achieve. You know, a good friend of mine is a Liverpool fan who I was with on Saturday. He said, "Oh, why couldn't Man City be this crap when we were, you know, going toe to toe with them?" I was like, "Well, you know, it's cycles in football. It is what it is. You know, we've got them. You know, we've had to be patient. We've had to bring in young players. We've had to, you know, get rid of our dross, pay him to leave. Hasn't been an overnight process." And, you know, we've finally got to this point where actually now we look like we're in a position to challenge, and we've had to be patient. And I just don't think the rival fans can have seen it that way. And I just think that they, you know, they just want how it used to be.
Yeah.
Fortunately,
do you know what interests me? Around that. Like, if take Arsenal weren't into the equation now, and Man City were on the same points they're on now, and Manchester United were on the same points they're on, and say Arsenal were 4th or 5th. No one would mention how bad Man City season is whatsoever. But it's because we're sitting at the top that suddenly Man City are having a really bad season. Do you know what I mean? But I would use that. If I was Arteta, I would use that video of Rio Ferdinand to go to the players. I would personally show them that, because if you showed me that and I was a player, that would fuel me up. That would get, like, say, do you know what? Like, I ain't, and it wouldn't surprise me if he does. Like, the players will see that, won't they? The players will see that. And hopefully it's them kind of little things that they kind of see, like, will kind of obviously get them remotivated again. I do find it, from an ex-football player, I find it, actually, I think I find it embarrassing more than anything. I just don't think it's professional. Like, I just don't think it's professional as a pundit, or you're supposed to be partial anyway. I just don't find the whole thing comfortable whatsoever. But like you said, it's because we've been the butt of all jokes for the last 20 years. So long may it continue at the end of the day. But back to your, sorry, what was your question, Ryan?
Oh, basically, the two Russ asking in the chat about the 2 losses in a row, the FA Cup game against City and Everton. Do you think that's going to be a mentality thing that's creeping in?
I think if Man City had won yesterday, I think that would have raised a lot of questions going into Saturday. I think there would have been. We see the social media side. We see it's incredible winning nowadays. Like, Arteta loses one game, Arteta out. We need to get someone else in to manage us. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I do think, though, if Man City had won yesterday, like, there would have been a lot of fans panicking there, and obviously, I think the players would have gone in totally different. But as I say, because they lost that game, they can go into a training today. Arteta can sit them down, probably have a few words with them all. Do you know what I mean? Tell them how much he loves them still and all that kind of stuff. Because I thought that was quite a good thing to do on Saturday. Do you know what I mean? Because he could have easily come out and slated them, but he didn't, did he? Like, he come out and said, like, how much he loves them and all what they've done and all that. He still loves them even more. So I think, do you know what? I think we will. I think this, going into this week, I don't think it will affect our mentality, because I think Man City have helped us out with that, if I'm being totally honest with that performance yesterday.
Yeah, we've got Marky in the chat going off on one now about Mark Kieran and the other pundit that got started dancing in front of Mark Kieran and all that. I might as well, because I keep mentioning pretty much every week now. People will probably get sick of listening to it and hearing me say, watching me say it. It's like, it was mentioned Gary Neville. It just, Mikovic has said it last year, back end of the COVID situation, in terms of we had one game called off. When Burnley had like 4 or 5 games called off because of outbreaks, and we have one game because it's an North London derby on Sky. The whole world come to an end. What the fuck is Arsenal playing at? We need to close this loophole. And we got absolutely torn apart. And Mikovic comes out and says, "What did Arsenal do wrong?" He was the only one at that moment. He's the only pundit, neutral was, as not an Arsenal connected was, that I can actually say, you know what? He talks sense. He doesn't say things for the sake of saying things. He wears his heart in his sleeve, but he'll say it as it is. And he said it as it was that day. He said, "Why? It just seems like when Arsenal do something, it's always blown way out of proportion. Anyone else does the exact same thing, nothing. Not a word, not a dicky bird." And seeing these ex players of rival teams, be it Jamie Carragher or Liverpool last year, when he was celebrating, while I was commentating, by the way, when Brentford scored the second goal, and laughing again, being so professional, by the way, but nothing they've mentioned on that because against Arsenal. Gary Neville being Gary Neville all season this year. Martin Tyler's, even his commentaries it's so apparent now when he commentates an Arsenal game, he doesn't want Arsenal to win because his tone gives it away. But you got Rio Ferdinand and his other ex-players celebrating. They're not even involved. Their team's not even involved on the day itself. Now they're going, like, are you?
I think Ryan
twisted
as well, mate. I think it's they know if they do that, then they're going to get a reaction from us Gooners, and they also know they're going to get a reaction from their fan bases and our, other rivals as well. Unfortunately, it's the nature of the beast. I don't like it or agree with it either, but it's the way that they can. It's an easy way for them to generate traction and clicks, isn't it? Unfortunately,
yeah. It just seems that they do it against us, though. It's like, why you got to use Arsenal to get yourself out there?
Yeah, it feels like it. I'm sure other fan bases will have examples of when it happens to them and whatever else. But yeah, I mean, certainly, obviously, we're all obsessed with Arsenal, aren't we? So when we see and hear things like that, it sort of sticks in our mind a little bit more. But listen, keep hating on us because it seems to be working this season, doesn't it?
No, exactly, and that's the main thing I sort of take away, and I did mention today or whenever on another podcast, is that they've slagged us off, and for example, the United game in the season and things like that. Oh, right, this is the Arsenal now. They're going to full swing come into it, and in terms of actually capitulate and just have a bang average season, and we've just kicked on, and Liam mentioned this on Saturday. Every test that's been put in front of us, 9 times out of 10, we've passed this season in the league. So obviously, because of where we are, that's proving the pudding there. And in the last couple of weeks, I've always said the last couple of weeks, look, no matter what, in terms of the title race here, no matter what happens, if we win the league or not, if we don't win, worst case thing happens and we don't win the league this season, as disappointed as I will be, because obviously, even though you don't expect it, you still want to win the title.
Yeah.
If we don't do it, I'll still, going by how the players and the team have reacted from last season's pain and adversity at the back end of last year, I have full faith that they'll come back next year and go again next year and go that step further. And even if they do,
we've got a young group as well, haven't we, mate? We've got a young group. It's not like we've got a bunch of players in their 30s and this is their last chance. As long as these players stay fit, they're hungry enough, and they can improve and show the trajectory that they're playing at. I don't see why we can't challenge and possibly win major honours, providing we keep everyone.
Yeah, and just in the meantime, as the next couple of years go by, as long as we maintain this competitiveness, do win the major honours, learn from what the mistakes that Liverpool have made in terms of they started winning these major honours, the Champions League, the league titles and all that, and competing for the league, and they sort of settled with the squad they had and never and there's a major injury they didn't really want to add to their squad, and it's come back in a bit on the arse now because they've lost Mane last summer, and they've not really replaced him. They're now brought in they're panicked and brought in Cody halfway through the season. They brought in Cody Gakpo. They brought in Darwin Núñez. Doesn't even suit the Klopp system, let alone a Liverpool player. We just can't make that mistake. So if we make that mistake, we'll get in the next 4 or 5 years' time. Obviously, we'll be in their situation.
The thing is, though, yeah, right. You look at their situation and you look at kind of our situation, and like I don't think anyone's ever gone out with it, apart from Man United back in the 90s, have gone out with this young team and been so successful. Like we're talking about the average age of 24 years old. Like, we potentially, if we can keep this group of players kind of with us and fit, and that we already know that we got Balogun out on loan who's tearing up in the French league, got Charlie Coutinho who's doing his stuff at Blackpool, and I think obviously we'll at some point obviously break into that kind of squad. Like we just like as long as we learn from it. Do you know what I mean? Like I think after this transfer window now, I think this is the last transfer window that you'll see us kind of get squad players in. I think now from the summer's transfer window onwards, we will only buy the very best players for the positions. Do you know what I mean? We won't need to go. Yeah, because we won't need to. Like we know that we got at least 2 players that could fulfil our squad next year if we wanted to, in terms of Balogun and Coutinho, if we really want them back in the team and back in the squad. But I just think with us, right, we're in such a different situation. Like this is nowhere near how much it's going to implode under Arteta. This is the start of it, and we're sitting top of the Premier League. No one expected us, including ourselves, to be top of the league with a team that's at an average age of 24 years old. Like, once we get a few more players in of the world-class ilk, which I'm sure we will do in the summer, and I'm sure we will get the centre midfielders in, mate, next season will be better than this season in terms of the way we play and the playing style. So I just see unbelievable times ahead. I've got to be honest, like in terms of the atmosphere at the Emirates, everything they're doing around the stadium on a week in, week out basis. Honestly, the vibe's unbelievable. Like I've never experienced it for a long time. When going to Arsenal games, and like, let's be honest, even in when we were in Invincibles, it was good, but it weren't 60,000 fans going at it. Do you know what I mean? Like now, where we've got that, and I just think we're going to go from strength to strength. And I think the good thing with us is we'll always concentrate on our academy, the Howe End. We've never turned our noses up at it ever. Like from the 70s. Onwards till now, we produced the Charlie Jules, the Liam Brady's, the Tony Adams, the Ashley Coles, the Sackers. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We produce them well. We make them world class players. And when you start looking at, you got players like that Crozier Dewberry, and the other two come on. Like
we've got Swift Rose coming. So he's had a bit of a mismatch season, but he's come back to surgery. Give him a full season now. Hopefully, touch wood next season. That's another one.
I think we're changing our style slightly as well. I honestly think sooner or later we're going to change our style where we're going to play with more two like attacking centre midfielders who will play 8 and 10. I think that's how we'll go long term, and I think Smith Rowe still could be quite vital to that. But I just think like the way we are now, mate. Like I know Liverpool had a good success for 3-4 years, but we could have this for 7, 8, 9 years if we really wanted to. If we can keep the players and make sure we treat them right and pay them what they deserve as long as they perform. Like I just see unbelievable times ahead, and I think we got the right manager as well. I really do now. Yeah. But like what I've seen over the last year and how he's got this team playing, it's just incredible. When he's like now we're sitting on 2-3 years ago we weren't sitting on no one that was worth over 50-60 million. Tell me now, like Saka, like if they're paying 100 million for Mudryk at the moment, who's only done it in the Ukrainian league, we're looking at 150 to 200 million pound player, surely.
Yeah, just him alone. That's not including potentially, but again, Martinelli, who's had a season of his life this season, he's kicked on this year. Really has.
William Saliba,
yep.
And another thing, lads, we've built this. Sorry to interrupt, but we've built this team without even kicking a Champions League football. You know, how many times have we been
Yeah.
told that we have to be in the Champions League to buy the best players? No, we don't. We have to just buy the promising players and good players, and eventually the level will rise. And hopefully, if and when we're in the Champions League next season, then better, younger, promising Champions League quality players will now come to Arsenal, and that can only benefit us tenfold.
What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts, Ray? Would you like someone like Declan Rice?
Me, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love Declan Rice. I think he'd be quality. You know, obviously we haven't seen him at Champions League level, but certainly that caliber. And you know, we're talking about potentially replacements for Thomas Partey and Xhaka. Unlike Liverpool, they never replenished their midfield or brought in quality reinforcements when they were on top. So he's the exact sort of player I think we need. We need that quality competition, strength and depth. And the likes of Xhaka and Partey, although they've been quality for us, they are sort of hitting their 30s now. Xhaka's been here a long time, and Partey's injury record hasn't been the best. So, I'm all for it. Bring him in.
I think the other thing, right, which is interesting when you look at Liverpool, like I watched Gakpo against us, like at our place. He did nothing. I've never been overly impressed with him. If I'm being totally honest, I was never overly impressed with him. I just think, like now with Liverpool, I don't see what they're going to do. Like I think in the end, Klopp will kind of walk. I think he will kind of walk because I think he's probably ended the cycle, isn't he? I think he's probably clutching, if we're being totally honest with you, with the Champions League now that he's hoping he can do something in the Champions League this year. But I think his cycle's coming to an end there.
Yeah, all got to say is good luck with that one. You got Real Madrid. You got Real Madrid coming up next.
Exactly. But they're not really pulling up trees. But you would expect at the moment Madrid to kind of turn them over, wouldn't you?
Yeah, they have the know-how on that. They've got in the recently they beat them in the final. Obviously, they beat them at last year's final. But I mean, just going back to what they are saying about in terms of how we built this, how we've gone about building this team, and then you go and see we've seen for the last 6-7 months under the new ownership at Chelsea, they're just literally not even doing the complete opposite. It's going, where have you? There you go. And look, we went through that stage briefly, not to that extent, but we brought in players. I said this to my brother yesterday. We were bringing players up Mustafi for £35 million, Pepe for 72. At times, in a time frame when we brought them in, when we didn't really need players in that position, respectively, of both players I mentioned there and others. And the recruitment, basically, my point is the recruitment was so bad, but it was so bad, but we were bringing in players, we're overpaying for them, and we had no sell-on value. Hence why, when it comes to them going, we would either terminate their contracts or they go for free, one of the two, or we're loaning out Pepe as we speak, and we don't get no comeback value on it, basically. And whereas now, without Champions League football, we've built a team that's Champions League ready, and we've got potential world-class players in our squad now, before we've even stepped foot on a Champions League stage.
It's remarkable in my opinion. It really is.
Right, yeah. And again, that's massive kudos to not just to Arteta, because he's obviously the manager and all that, but Edu as well. And this is my thing about back into the window when obviously the Casado thing was going up. You got people going, "Oh, Edu out" and all that. Well, hang on. If you're calling for Edu's head, you got to call for Arteta's head, because they're a duership. They are basically the modern day version, if you will, of what Wenger and David Dean were back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Arsene Wenger was the manager, David Dean was the sporting director, whatever, and they worked together to go and get Wenger would give the names, the list of names you'd wanted. David Dean go and get the job done. Arteta gives the names. Arteta goes and gets the job done. Options A, B's, and C's, and this, that, and the other. So if you're demanding Edu must go, he doesn't do it. He can't do his job because one player can't come to us because the selling club doesn't want to sell. How's that Edu's fault for a start? And also, you're then magically forgetting Ramsdale, Odegaard, Saliba, Ben White, Gabriel, Zeju, Senchenko, just to name a few there, that have been brought under this regime of Edu and Arteta, and they've all worked, and they've made us bigger, better, and stronger on and off the pitch, to the point of where we are. But no, there's all overreact. Apparently, it does. When people go online and just overreact, and it's so clear they're doing it for clicks and views for the channels or whatever, it really hacks me off. It's just like you don't need to do it. It's just if you've got if it's an honest opinion, fair enough. But it's clear that it's not. You need to work on your craft basically of what you're doing then and have a word with yourself, because it just does my head in. There's no need for the overreactions because we are top of the league. Yes, we've lost this weekend, our second game of the season in the league, but we are top of the league out of nowhere this season. We're top of the league, 5 points clear, a game in hand. Taking out the equation what we've heard today about Man City, over Man City, who have a robot in a striker up front, who's already surpassed Son's goal scoring total last season, and we're above that as a collective. Because, a friend of mine asked me the other week, after we beat Tottenham, do you think we're going to win the league? Win the league now? And I was like, you know what? I'm starting to believe, because when you look at Man City and you look at Arsenal, we're playing as a team. The goals are coming not just when Jesus was in playing, not just from him. You're coming from Saka, you're coming from Martinelli. You've got Odegaard leading by example. Partey's getting a few goals in now. Xhaka's scoring goals. Gabriel's scoring goals. And Zinchenko's getting assists and things like that. And they've got Trossard coming into the equation now. Whereas when it comes to, you look at Man City, the majority of their goals are coming through Haaland all of a sudden. Where they've gone for this false nine approach over the years, when the goals come from all over the place. It's now this season, the goals are coming through. The goals don't come from Haaland, they barely come from anyone else on the pitch. And that's what's going to be, that will be what the final nail in the coffin for Man City, I think, this season, going by how things are going this season on the pitch. My main point is we are playing more as a team, whereas they're clearly not. And it's a team sport, so if we win it on merit, because we've worked as a team, it's a collective. And for how many years have we said, for the last few years now, we need goals from the midfield? We've now got, and look where we are.
So reliant in recent seasons on Aubameyang and Lacazette at times to score all our goals. If they didn't fire, then we just didn't score. That was it. Like you mentioned there, Ryan, we've got goals from all over the pitch now, haven't we? Our front four can all score. We've got midfielders. Xhaka's been chipping in with goals. I think Gabriel's like the top scoring centre back. That may have changed, but he was certainly from the start of last season. So we got goals all over the pitch, and long may it continue.
No, yeah, exactly. What we've got? We're coming up from the year now, going for this. Liam, what's your score prediction for Saturday? Out of interest, against Brentford, because it's going to be a tougher game.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be an easy game whatsoever. I think it'll be pretty tight. I'm going to go 2-1.
That's what
I'm going to go 2-1, but I do think it's going to be a pretty tight. It was probably 1-0. I think it's one of these games where we just need to get the win. Do you know what I mean? It's just we just need to get the win on Saturday and set ourselves up nicely for Wednesday. I'm going to go for a win, but I'm going to go 2-1.
Sorry, Ray. That's on.
Yeah, I see what Liam's saying. I don't think it's going to be easy at all. I'm going to go 1-0 to the Arsenal. Like I say, I think we need to show that we can be strong in defence, which we have been for a lot of the season. We haven't been at home. We haven't kept that many clean sheets at home, annoyingly. But I think this is a real test that we can try and do that. And they're going to set up. They're going to make it difficult. They're going to frustrate. They're going to time waste. We all know it. But I do believe that we have the cutting edge to score at least one, and I think that's what we'll do. So I'll go 1-0.
I'm going to go Granit Xhaka.
I'll take it.
Anyone that scores,
I'll come back to you, but I've got pretty might score Saturday.
Zinchenko for the winner for me. Zinchenko, he's due a goal now. He's been here long enough. I know he played fullback. but he gives enough on the pitch. It shows he's
I can see it being someone that isn't obvious, like a Xhaka or a Gabriel or Zinchenko, somebody like that. Something for a set piece. Ironically, a bit like Everton done.
It would be nice though, wouldn't it, to see us just take a team out now, like put authority on it as such, like someone who is someone's a decent outfit like a Brentford or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and just do what we did against them early in the season, like 3-0, 3-1, whatever it was.
Yeah, like if even we done a 3-4-0, like I want to see, like I really want to see us take some team like that, but I don't think it'd be Saturday, but it would. Well, if we win, it just gives us big confidence in going into that Man City game. The other thing as well, I picked up on, they got to play on Sunday, and he can't be happy about that. That he's got a 4:30 kickoff against Aston Villa, and we know Aston Villa are not too bad at home. They beat Spurs away, didn't they? I mean, Aston Villa away, they can go and upset the apple cart. So he won't be happy about that. Pardon?
They beat Manchester United at home as well, didn't they?
They did. They did. So that's not an easy game. And they've got to play 4:30 and then come to the Emirates for 7:30 3 days later. So he might have to rotate the team a bit, if we're being frankly honest.
Especially if as long as we do our job on Saturday, that's the pressure's on him to get that win on Saturday, because otherwise,
exactly.
You don't. If the worst thing happens, back-to-back defeats, and you're going into an Arsenal game at the Emirates, 8 points behind us. It's that could pretty much be the do or die game, basically. Then, even though there's so much still to play after that game, mentally and physically, that could be so huge. And then everyone then forgets this game. Basically, everyone else just forget if we do that. It'd be like, hey, what was the panic for? No, but I don't know what else to say, because I'm literally, as I repeat myself now, but it just feels like yesterday, like things are falling into place. Someone, Stefan, one of the regulars, he's not coming in tonight, but he mentioned it last night. It feels like fate is like things are going in the way that we need them to go for us to get that hands on that trophy. And it would be so. How can I put this? It would obviously be fantastic as a fan base and all that for Arteta's first, technically his second trophy to be the league title, because obviously his first was the FA Cup. And it'll be so. After everything we've been through since we last won the league, in terms of the Champions League final defeat in 06, to moving to the stadium, the Emirates, and going through that transitional period and being a sending club and sending best players. The latter years of Wenger, the Unai Emery era, if you will, and now we're here 3 years into Arteta's reign, and come maybe 3.5 years, and he would have come in, tore up the squad that he inherited, and built this team that out of nothing, out of nowhere. I keep saying it all season, but none of us thought that this was possible in terms of us actually being in the titles. Our aims were just to get in the top four. Go that step further than last season. This would be absolutely insane. And then, look, in my opinion, if we win the league, if we come first or second in the league, no matter what, even if the worst happens, we come second, Arteta should get manager of the year, because of what he's done. He's done. Not only is he one of the youngest managers in the league, but he's got the youngest. We keep saying it, youngest squad in the league, and he's achieved that. He can't sort of dispute what he's doing. But some people are out there in Spain and all that, but that's another case for another time. But it's just, why can't the ones people like ourselves be allowed to enjoy it, and why can't the people who are not enjoying it, the fan base, just enjoy it and relax, and just, because it has been so long since we have been in this situation where we've been in a genuine title race. Genuine. I mean, for me, 15-16, I don't really count, because obviously, you mentioned it before, we only came second on the last day because Tottenham bottled it against Newcastle, who really already relegated. If you know, you know. It was a 2-horse race until Leicester won the league, and then Tottenham just fell apart. But for me, the last time we were, in my opinion, in a genuine title was 07-08, and we all know how that ended with Eduardo losing, having his ankle knee taken off him, and Gallas dropping on the pitch and all that. And everyone, because of that sort of that season in particular, where we felt like we started off fantastically and looked like we're going to win the league at a counter, and then come February, March, we fell apart. You've got all these rival fans that are old enough to remember that season and thinking they're going to do it again. Are they going to do it again? Or they are going to do it again? And if we don't, as I say, February till March now are all, for me, but obviously Man City's, and anything can happen in the Man City game, obviously. But they're all winnable fixtures for me.
Yeah.
If we can get to the final 6 games, and the final 6 games are like Man City, Chelsea, and there's another decent team, and there's like Forest, someone else, and Wolves. But if we can get to that final 6 and be, if the title's not wrapped up by then, but all but wrapped up, that'd be insane. I might actually, me and Liam mentioned this before, we might actually break down and cry either in the stadium or on here on stream because of how long we've had to wait just to lift the trophy. Because again, when we won the league last time in 2004, none of us thought we'd wait this long.
Yeah.
And
I can remember.
No one's going to deny us. If we do this, no one is going to dampen my mood. No one's denying me celebrating this. No matter what happens with City in terms of on and off the pitch situations, I'm enjoying every second of this. And if we win it, start hiding, motherfuckers, because I'm coming for you.
And that's the thing, Ryan. You just said you'd enjoy it, and that's what I would say to all the Gooners out there: is just enjoy it, because we are one of the most exciting teams in the league right now. We're playing some of the best football in the league. You know, if we fall short, we fall short. But listen, Arsenal never do anything the easy way, right? Think of all the things we've won, the achievements we've got. We never make it easy for ourselves. So there will be bumps in the roads. We will have good days. We will still have bad days, unfortunately. But let's just enjoy every moment of it as best we can. You know, if you go to the stadium, it's absolutely buzzing before, after, and during the game. And yeah, let's just enjoy the ride. You know, like I say, as it stands, we've still got a young team, and as long as we can keep everyone fit and firing, I'm sure we'll have other tests in the future. We'll go on and challenge for more honours. So just keep the faith, people.
Yeah. Before I go to Liam quickly, there's a comment here on the screen from Marcus. Our next 4 games are tough: Brentford, City at home, and then Villa and Leicester away. I mean, obviously Villa, United, me and all that. That's gonna be heightened even more because of that. I said this to Liam the other week. I think the Villa game, in terms of, even though it is away, because we've had that situation with me under Villarreal and all that a couple of years back. Arteta would have learnt from that, and again, a different squad of players, and I don't think there'll be an issue as much. But you never know. Martinez being Martinez might have a little cry and say Arsenal beat him. It's all Arsenal's fault that Arsenal scored, and because he does complaining apparently about Arsenal. Leicester City away. I think out of the 4, I think Leicester City, even though they won at the weekend against Villa, ironically, they're not exactly. I don't think they're the weak. I think they're the easier team out of the 4 there, because form suggests that since the World Cup, they're coming from the World Cup, they sort of hit that form again of start of the season. And barring, obviously, I mentioned on Saturday when they won 4-2 against Villa in a derby, by the way, they haven't really pulled up trains for me. And again, we'll just like to fight for, hopefully, just to pull clear a bit more of that team up with Manchester. But the first we've got to take it game by game, as they say, in terms of just go. The next stop is at home to Brentford. We do that, see what happens there, see then what happens the next day with Villa take on Man City, and then we worry. Whilst we're focusing on that, we're also focused on getting prepared for midweek against Man City, because that's not our game in hand. Now, ironically, that's not even our game in hand against City either, thankfully. That's going to be Everton at some point. Was I find it a bit? I'll ask you guys before we go. Do you find it a bit weird that all the fixtures from that weekend where all the games got called off because of the Queen's passing, all the other fixtures have been played, barring Arsenal v Everton now. Every game's pretty much been played now. I think these Man United played this week as well. But Arsenal Everton haven't been. Arsenal v Everton at the Emirates hasn't been rescheduled yet. But this was postponed 2 weeks later. But they. Is
it because we were meant to play in Europe and for whatever reason, policing, I think it was, that they couldn't have it in London, so they had to.
The Man City.
The Man City one. Yeah.
Man City game was moved because we had to play in Europe for the PSV game, and then we'd forfeit the points.
Why can't we play this weekend? Why can't we play this Wednesday?
This is what I'm saying. Like,
why can't we play this Wednesday? Right.
This is what I'm trying to say. Like, every other game that was postponed when the Queen died that weekend, including Arsenal v Everton, all the other games now would have been played after Man United play Leeds on this Wednesday or Thursday, whenever it is. But that game for us hasn't been rearranged.
Do you know what it is, Liam? Sorry to cut in, mate. It's probably just Sky, whoever does the TV. They probably want that fixture at a more convenient time for them. So if they put it on Wednesday with other big fixtures are on at the same time, it doesn't really work for them, does it? It doesn't really benefit them. Of course, it would work for us, but I just think they want to put that prime time at a later date, so it's better for their TV schedule.
It don't help us because in my eyes, probably your eyes, like we'd rather get the games out of the way. Like we'd rather get the points now and have that 8-point buffer, because it just changes the whole mentality of everything, don't it? Man City then know that they can't afford to lose any games.
Yeah,
but it's a shame we didn't get it when it was in the Lampard era, really.
I was gutted when Dyche come in after he got stacked, because you knew it was going to happen as well. You could always see it coming.
Yeah, and that's really hacked me off out because everyone was like sort of in the group chat I'm in, like, they're going to sack him before the players, aren't they? They're going to sack them. I'm like, I'm praying they don't. Please don't wait. I'm literally like, no. They'll wait. For once, they'll wait until we get out of the way. No, as per usual. Arsenal in the corner. That'll be easy when we get a manager in quickly. And it's just like, bastards. But now we've got Sean Dyche again. But I think the home game will be obviously Arsenal at home to Everton will be a lot different.
It's always different, isn't it? We always struggle at Goodison, but we always do quite well at home. As we proved last season and the years gone by, it's weird. I don't get why Everton. We mentioned it already. I don't get why Everton have this sort of stronghold against us at Goodison for the last few years. It really did my head in. I don't want them to become the Tottenham equivalent to what Tottenham are to Man City. In terms of that bogey team that always away to that team, it's always guaranteed a win for that team. It's like, seriously, go away. It was like, what was it, years ago? Bolton used to be a bogey team, and so they ended up Big Sam. Bolton, Stoke, all these teams.
Yeah. Oh, don't. It's just so painful to go through every year.
But to be fair, when you look at our home games after the Brentford game and the City game, you look at our home games for the rest of the season, like Wolves should be a 3-pointer, shouldn't it? Like Chelsea, obviously is probably the hardest one, but you look at Crystal Palace, Brighton, who else? You got Bournemouth for Leeds.
Yeah.
Palace, Southampton. So you're looking at that, right? That's 7 games, so that's 21 points. So that's 71 points already. I honestly think, do you know what? I honestly think that I reckon we'll be able to get away with 85, 86 points at the moment.
Not with the time, I don't care what we get points.
No, but I honestly do, because I'll tell you why I do, because I think City, they're not going to win every game between now and the end of the season. You know what I mean? And I think when you start looking at their the games that they've got as well, if we basically win one of the double headers, that basically evens it out anyway, and that's another 3 points taken away from them. And they were talking about us 100, and they're probably sitting 8 points behind. That's 92. So 89. Yeah, I reckon about 86. I think 86. I reckon between 86 and 88 wins it this year.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll 100% take it. Yeah. Oh dear.
It's the away games, isn't it? As long as you can win, As long as you can win at least over half the away games now to the end of the season, and we've done it pretty well apart from the two blips. Man United we should have lost anyway, and Everton we deserved. As long as we win half them away games, I'm pretty much confident of that.
I think the only two that could bite us on the arse will be they come near the end of the season anyways. Anfield and what's it called? Anfield and Etihad. But again, we don't know if the title race is going to be up for grabs by the time we go to Man City. We don't know. But I think they are the tougher away games on paper, obviously. But we cross that bridge when we come to it, especially Anfield, because obviously they're going to be like, we'll say that. Because when I say that, because historically, again, like Everton, that's been a bit of a bogey ground for us over the years to go to and get a result, an actual result. But saying that, they're not exactly pulling up trees. They might not even have anything to fight for by then either, because they're at the FA Cup. They're not going to have no League Cup either. They're probably at the Champions League. So they're probably by then we're going for the motions, and that could be a good time to play them, actually, thinking of it. But City itself, depending on the title race situation, that could be a potential banana skin potentially. But we cross game by game. We cross that bridge when we come to it. I think again, Chelsea at home. You mentioned that'd be the tougher home game at the home game set after we get City out of the way, obviously. Again, will they have anything to fight for by then? Will they be in anything to fight for? Because they're at the FA Cup. They could be out. I don't know if they've got in Champions League, but they could be out. But going by their form recently, are they going to have European football to fight for in the league positions by then? It all depends, obviously. But it doesn't look good for them either. But we just got to take advantage of the situation we found ourselves in. And any rival fans that wants to go, oh, you've won it because it's a shit league because everyone's going through transition. Like, oh well, we must have won it when everyone else goes.
That's how teams win titles, isn't it, Ryan? You know,
yeah.
Not everyone is going to have perfect seasons and not be going through transitions. There's always going to be teams that struggle. Like I say, football goes in cycles anyway. So it is what it is. It's just make the most of it.
No, exactly. It is what it is, and it just fell for us at the most random time in our own transition as well, because we are still going through it ourselves. But it just fell perfect for us. That other teams are just out of nowhere, like Liverpool was fallen off. Man City are there, but they're not what they were. Chelsea completely off a cliff under this new ownership. United are again there, but not quite good enough yet. Newcastle going through that transition as well in terms of new ownership, building a team that's good enough to compete and get into Europe and things like that. But it's just, as I say, it's just fell for us and we're taking advantage. For once in our lives, in the first time in 19 years, we're taking advantage of it. And I'm loving it.
Have you actually seen Man City's last three fixtures?
The last three? I haven't seen the last three. What they got? Go on.
Everton away. Well, that ain't going to be easy.
No.
Chelsea at home.
Ooh.
And Brentford away.
Oh.
Give us the title now.
That's free cricket at night. Before that, they've got Fulham away. Well, they've got Man City Leeds, but Fulham away, and they've got Arsenal, and then they've got Brighton away as well. So they've got some bloody hard games. Got Liverpool, and Liverpool got a hoodoo on them anyway. So you look at their fixtures, and still play Newcastle at home. We know what Newcastle will do. They'll park up the bus. So they've got some interesting fixtures, very interesting fixtures like at the back end of that season. So
you know what? Now you're saying all that. These next two games for us, obviously from Arsenal,
massive,
because if we do win them, if we get 6 points out of 6 in terms of Brentford and Man City now, I think that's going to be not the nail in the coffin, like fully, but mentally. I think our guys will just kick on then and just do the job that they need to do to get us that mathematically the title ASAP.
Well, you're looking at 11 points, then, aren't you, with the game in hand?
Yeah. And then
you'd probably don't get me wrong, you want 6 out of 6 and Fulham and Leicester, but the worst case scenario, you'd take 4 out of 6 if you took 6 points at home.
Yeah, you might even see if we did go 8 points clear this next Wednesday, obviously after Wednesday's game against City, if we obviously assume we beat Brentford and they beat Villa, and then we go into that game, we win that, we're 8 points clear after the full-time whistle with a game in hand. you might even see Pep just go screw it and put all his eggs in the basket of Champions League.
Well, didn't you find it weird yesterday that he said that he dropped De Bruyne for tactical reasons? Like we're talking about the best.
I didn't get that.
The best player in the Premier League over the last 3-4 years, and he's on the bench for tactical reasons. Like, come on, there's a lot of issues there at the moment. And I just think, right, when they come to us on that Wednesday, right, like their defence is not experienced, and he looks like he's not going to change it whatsoever because he's kept with the guys. And I'm happy. I'm happy if he plays Ake and Lewis in that game because they haven't played against our first team yet, and with the Emirates and all that. Honestly, I actually think that a tougher game would have been Man United at home. Like, if he plays that same team, we just have to go at them and literally go at them because they will come forward. And I think we'll just kind of damage them, to be honest, without what we've got on our wings. But I also think as well, with Jesus coming back, that's going to be the lift as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because
definitely.
we haven't got our talisman at the moment. And we needed him on Saturday and we needed him at Man City last week. But I'm glad in some ways that, do you know what, that he's resting up and all that because he's going to be fresh come March, where there's a lot of players that have played a full season, including a World Cup.
No, what I'll do next Wednesday. Even though he's not fit, put him on the bench. Don't play him. Don't use him as everyone has an unused sub. But get the crowd pumped. I think to make us all think he's back early. Well, hey, and just to get the crowd going, and make it even more intense against City, and get the players feed off that, and just little mind games like that. But we got with 5 subs. Don't use it. As I say, don't use him. So you got 7-9 players on the bench. Put him. We know that certain players aren't going to be used, so have him as one of the unused subs. But they don't know that. To play their mind games. If he wants to play mind games against us, we do it vice versa. And then, as I say, come March, take him out again. Obviously, let him do his training, get himself back to fitness. And as I say, come March, unleash the motherfucker for the rest of the season when we need it most.
He's a big player, mate. He's a big player. Like, I think going to somewhere like Man City away, right. Do you know what? I know I shouldn't be like this, but as long as we go with our first team, right, and we got Barty and Jesus fit, I reckon we'll get something there. Yeah. I honestly believe that we'll get something there because he's a different player. Like he makes Martinelli play. He exploits space, which then opens up stuff for Martinelli. Do you know what I mean? And it's no doubt that when he's fit, Martinelli's a totally different player because he's not left out there on his own. So him coming back and it's just going to cause havoc again. And I think like, don't get me wrong, Eddie's done a good job, and at home. I can trust on him, but I just think in the away games when you need that little bit extra, Jesus is your man. And I think like if we'd have had him on Saturday, he's the kind of player who can make something happen when you are struggling. So do you know what? As I said, him coming back fresh for those last 2-3 months could be a massive difference maker. Because Man City haven't got the pace. They haven't got the pace in the team at the moment. They haven't got the players around Haaland. To make things happen. If Haaland don't score goals, they don't score goals, and they ain't suddenly going to just change for the whole rest of the season. So, if Jesus stays fit with Partey, then I think that we can go to. I think we can go to Anfield, we can go to Man City, we can go to Newcastle. Quite confident of getting some kind of points.
Yeah, sorry about that. McQueen just mentioned in the chat if anyone's got a chance to catch the highlights of tonight's Arsenal v Watford FA Youth Cup game, saying it was great. I've just checked the score. We were 2-0 down. We won 4-2.
Oh, bloody hell.
Oh, go on.
Well done, Jack. Because obviously Jack's the manager on the 18th. So and we'll see who scored actually. Have a look. As we're going live, it's like 10. Oh bloody hell no. Look who's Cozy Dubry scored today. From the penalty spot, the 4th goal, 1-6.
Nice one.
Rosiak, he scored as well, the 3rd. Just go for it now, sorry. Kamara for the equaliser. Who's got us back into it. Let's have a look. Oh, got 2 Kusa Dubry. There you go.
Top
Go on,
player,
James.
mate.
There you go. That's cool. But it goes to show how good our academy players are. And again, fantastic for Jack as well. In what is his Aussie, where he's starting off his coaching career at the under 18s and all that, and he's having a good effect on him this season. I've seen some of the clips of his like before and after the games and all that. North London derby early in the season, he's like, we're gonna fucking shout and make it clear that they know that how much this means to us and all that. And North London's ready, this, that, and the other. I was half expecting him to just come out with the bloody bucket, bucket out and glasses and go, I've got one question. If you know, you know. I'm not going to go into it, but if you know, you know. Dear, both pens. He's still got scoring. That's the thing. He's still got to put him in the back in the net. If that's the case. That's fantastic. Well done to the lads, and hopefully they go get a decent draw for the next round of the cup for that. I'll be checking that out in a minute then. Oh dear. So yeah. Apart from that, I think we're going to start wrapping things up. So if you have enjoyed this, if you want to listen to this back, you come halfway through, whatever. The audio for this will be up on Spotify in the next half hour or so once the downloads all sorted and all that. So keep an eye out for that. And then I'm trying to think, we will be back on, I believe it's Wednesday actually, for the Women's League Cup semi-final against Man City. Just double checking now kickoff times. 1 second. Because I was checking fixtures for the weekend as well, so that's why I'm all over the place. This one, is it this? So it's Wednesday. There you are, Wednesday, 7:15. It was even earlier. It's 7:15 kickoff. Okay, so Arsenal women playing Man City. Is it Bournemouth? Meadows Park, yeah, Bournemouth. So I'll be covering that on Wednesday. So go live about 7 o'clock, just before 7. Get to go for the teams and all. Allow you guys time to come in and get settled in the game and all that, and get the game up for yourselves. And then we're back after that on Saturday for. I think it's back to back on Saturday. 1 sec. I think it's back to back games, isn't it? Yeah, literally. I'm gonna be run off my feet because we've got Man City women playing the Arsenal women away. The fixture list for the match opening season has now been played this weekend, so that'll be that. And then literally, half hour later, and then I'll be literally going live again for the Arsenal Brentford game. So busy few hours for me on Saturday. Yay! Oh dear! I want to say a massive thanks to obviously Liam. Have you got anything coming up on your channel this week?
Not sure yet. I might have a post show, but
are you avoiding the Millerman this week?
Well,
you're going to avoid the Millerman for another week.
Absolutely.
Oh,
but I might do a post show, but if I do, it won't be till Wednesday, Thursday. To be fair.
No worries. And obviously, massive thanks to Ray as well for coming along as well and taking part in the podcast. And hope you enjoyed it, my friend.
Yeah, brilliant, mate. It was quality chatting with you guys again. Thanks for inviting me on, Ryan. Liam, absolute pleasure, mate. Speaking to you as ever. Just where's the parrot though? That's kind of.
No, parrot, mate. He's coming. Last game of the season. I
look forward to it. But yeah, thanks again, Ryan, for having me on, mate.
Yeah, absolutely no problem. How smug Liam gets. I'm concerned how big this pack's going to be come last game of the season at Wolves.
I've been looking at outfits. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh my days! I think you might blow up virally on the final game of the season. Then.
Yeah, I'm sure I will, mate. I'm sure I will.
All for the reasons. If we have something to celebrate, hopefully, touch wood. Yeah. So yeah, I'll see you guys on Wednesday. So until then, guys, enjoy the rest of your evening, morning, afternoon. And as always, up the arse. If you want to become a member, all details are going across the screen now. Other than that, as always, up the Arsenal. Come on, you Gunners.
Come on, you Gunners.